I know that you're a gun owner. Our girl over here, she's a gun owner also. And then I want to just quote you. You said, I don't think it's about gun control. You say that. I grew up in the South with guns everywhere and never shot anyone. This is about people who aren't taught the value of life. That was in 2012. Now, do you still agree with that statement?
Sure. Yeah, you have to have an understanding of your humanity and other people's humanity also. I also don't think it's okay for people to have guns. Nobody needs a machine gun.
Right.
If you're not in the Army.
Yeah. Even the Army says that.
Can't say this strongly enough. You can protest any speaker you want to. The minute you get violent, you say you're protesting because you want to protect people and stuff, and then you go and burn people's stuff. What the hell, man?
I think it's two different things.
It does. Whoever it is, it all happened in Berkeley, and you should not. You can protest and say we don't want this speaker. Don't go hear him, because the problem with you saying stop this person can't come is the person you want to come then will be stopped by somebody else.
And wasn't it Martin Luther King that always talked about when you get violent, you betray the message of what you're trying to say, and you lose your power.
You lose all your power.
There were protesters and there were outside agitators. So the protesters did not do this.
But we don't know who did it. We don't know who did it. That's the problem.
That's what you've heard.
Everyone gets lumped together, and it becomes the narrative becomes all the protesters did this. And so what I'm saying is, listen, outside agitators, you're not helping.
Yeah.
You're not helping because you are burning people's businesses. You are setting people back. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Protest all you want to. Stop messing with people's stuff.
But let's talk about whether he has a right to protest, to speak here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just said everybody has the right to speak.
Well, I think everyone has a right to speak, but basically, when I was in college, they really vetted people who were going to speak. There were, maybe people like JFK would come to the school. You know what I mean? It wasn't just some troll on the internet, which is what this guy basically is.
He is that, but that is not.
He was invited, though. Don't say his name, because I don't think he deserves any more press.
But he was invited by the Republicans, the Young Republicans Club.
I'm just saying, I'm the First Amendment person here. I really believe in it. But this guy, why'd they invite this guy? He has been banned from Twitter. He made horrible comments against Leslie Jones from SNL.
Yes.
He said at least the new Ghostbusters has a hot black guy in it, meaning her. Now, here is hate speech. It's speech that threatens or insults groups based on race, color, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, disability. So he's a sexist. Yep. He's a racist. Why should he be invited?
Listen, that is not our thing to control. If they want to...
I've never been here before.
No, you haven't been at the table.
No,
he's usually in the audience.
I'm always on the sofa or something.
Yeah. So, baby, you on Sunday night got the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Award. And you were nervous going out to do that. Is that so?
I didn't think I was until I got up there.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you got the thing in your hand and you're going, wow, Lifetime Achievement. Okay. What do I say about that? Yeah. But as usual, I still run all that back to you when you were on that Cannes jury, and I ended up getting the only Best Supporting Performance Award ever given in the history, and that's what got me to lunch in Hollywood.
Wow. Is that right? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I used to call my agent every day, and so Hollywood called, and she'd go, no. And Spike and all those guys had gone to Cannes. And when I saw Spike, he was like, well, we're only taking the stars of the movie, and you don't get to go. And then that award happened, and I called her and I said, so Hollywood called it? She said, as a matter of fact, yeah, they did today. You got an award at the Cannes Film Festival, and these people want to see you about this movie in California. So,
can I just say that performance, that performance stunned me. And I've seen the movie now 3 or 4 times, and both you and Halle are spectacular in this piece. Halle's first movie, but you are. I don't know if they tell you. When the movie was over, I stood up and I said, who is that kid? Who is that kid? Because it was so amazing.
Yeah. We're talking about Jungle Fever.
Right. Jesse Williams received a humanitarian award. You gave him a shout out about his speech. What moved you? Because it knocked folks out.
I felt like I was like listening to Rap Brown and Stokely Carmichael again.
Yep.
And it was like overwhelmingly satisfying and chilling, and you know, because those are the speeches we heard.
Yes.
That made you, okay, I got to get up and go do something. I can't just talk about this with somebody, and I can't sit around and not do something.
Yeah.
That's like, get active.
Yeah.
Get up and get on your feet and get doing it.
He did do that.
Rocked that.
He did. It was a very interesting. You know, a lot of the characters that you play, Sam, have guns. I know that you're a gun owner. Our girl over here, she's a gun owner also. And then I want to just quote you. You said, I don't think it's about gun control. You say that. I grew up in the South with guns everywhere and never shot anyone. This is about people who aren't taught the value of life. That was in 2012. Now, do you still agree with that statement?
Sure. Yeah, you have to have an understanding of your humanity and other people's humanity also. I also don't think it's okay for people to have guns. Nobody needs a machine gun.
Right.
If you're not in the Army.
Yeah. Even the Army says that.
You talk a lot about Donald Trump here.
Really? Why?
We can't help ourselves.
I mean, maybe if we stop talking about him, people will stop dealing with him. How about that?
Well,
you know, he has gotten more free publicity.
He has.
He's running for president.
But in
Well, we
January,
have to act like he's not.
well,
Let's talk about the person that really is running for president. He's just running for popularity. Come on, let's let it go.
well, but in January you got into a Twitter fight with him, but it wasn't about politics. Can you talk about
What
that?
happened?
It wasn't about anything. It was about him. I accused him of cheating at golf.
Why did you accuse him of that?
Why did I accuse him of cheating? Because he did. I mean, we're actually standing in a tee box, and he hits a ball that clearly flies left into some water and splashed. And by the time we got down the fairway, his caddy said, "I found the ball, Mr. Trump."
What?
How was that? Oh.
And then he said he never played golf with me. He didn't know me. Da, 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 da,
He tweeted that
and
out.
Anthony Anderson was playing with us that day, who actually remembered what we had to eat afterwards. They had to eat. They had shrimp and hot dogs. Why that combination, I have no idea. But shrimp and hot dogs. But he said he didn't play with me, and then I posted a bill from Trump National because he somehow gave me a membership that I didn't know about. And they were charging me for some fee, and I hadn't been there in like 3 years, so I posted the bill saying it was that. And one day, you know, out of the blue, he called my house, you know, Samuel L., the Don. I'm like,
The
who?
Don?
The Don? Who?
Corleone?
Trump. I go, oh. And he was asking me to go and play golf with a friend of his because he was busy that day. And I'm like, sure. Do I have to come to Jersey? He's like, no, in Westchester, my other course. So I go up there, and it's Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
So Bill and I are getting ready to play, and he shows up anyway. So he takes Bill inside and buys him a jacket because it was a little chilly. He didn't buy me anything. But, you know, yeah, but yet still, he doesn't know me. I don't know if we ever played. And then after he said that, he tweets out, well, his swing is ugly and not athletic. He said, either you don't know me or you know me.
Exactly.
Which one is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it wasn't a Twitter beat.
Your new movie is The Legend of Tarzan, and the character you play is based on a real person, George Washington Williams.
Yeah.
Tell us something about him, because most people don't know anything about King Leopold. They don't know anything about the atrocities that happened. So tell us how this works, how you put them together.
Okay, well, George Washington Williams actually passed himself off as an emissary from the President of the United States to get into the Congo to expose what King Leopold was doing.
Yes.
Which actually turned out to be the Great African Holocaust.
Yes.
Killed millions of people. And the country still hadn't recovered from that.
No. How does Tarzan
Well, George Washington Williams,
into this?
Lord Greystoke,
Right.
John Clayton, is living in England at the time, and we actually get a part of his origin story also through what his life was living with the apes for the first time.
Yes.
And this female ape finds him, and he's an infant in a crib, and she takes him and raises him.
Yes.
And he's a naked animal running around in the woods until he sees Jane, and it's like the first hairless girl he's ever seen. He's kind of like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then, you know,
that's what that's for.
Yeah, right. And through him protecting her, he gets injured, and the indigenous people that Jane lives with and her parents take him in, and they teach him how to be a human being.
Right.
So we see Tarzan go from being an ape to a human being, and how he becomes part of the African diaspora and the environment around him, as opposed to the Tarzan we knew growing up, who was the Africa police.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yes.
you keep the animals in line, you keep the natives in line.
That's
and
right.
if you come in here causing trouble, I'm going to smack you down, too.
That's right. So our thanks to Samuel L. Jackson. Please go see The Legend of Tarzan.
Yes, because I
tomorrow.
need to pass Harrison Ford on this highest grossing actor list. Because he passed me last week.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you. As members of our studio audience, you are getting 2 tickets to see it in the IMAX 3D, courtesy of our friends at IMAX. Wait. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's
10 of you at home will win a pair of tickets as well. So go to our Instagram by midnight Eastern tonight to learn how to enter for a chance to win. And y'all, just be happy you're going to see it in 3D at the IMAX Theater. Woo!
You don't have to go see it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go see it, but you cannot.
It's a slippery
You can
slope
say
when you
we're
start
going to
cutting off.
protest.
I agree with
We
that.
can protest outside, but you don't have to go in, but you don't have the right to destroy.
Joining me now on the grill is Ben Shapiro, author of Bullies and editor-at-large for Breitbart News. Welcome back to you, Mr. Shapiro.
Thanks for having me.
I've missed you, he says, lying.
Same here. I thought maybe you were going to deport yourself after the whole gun control.
No,
thing
your
stuff.
attempts with your mates to get me deported failed spectacularly.
Oh, I wanted you to stay. You're so much fun.
Let's turn to something serious. This is an appalling story, and I'm sure we both agree on that. This 5-year-old boy shooting and killing his 2-year-old sister with a rifle he'd been given. Now, it's in Kentucky where this happened, it's legal to do this. And what I want to do is play a commercial. This is by Cricket, who make these rifles and market them to these kids. Let's watch this.
Where's he going? Shoot my new cricket rifle. I wish I had one.
My first rifle, a moment you'd never forget. The Cricket is the perfect way to get younger small-frame shooters started right, with a safety-promoting design. It's soft shooting, affordable, and accurate. Girls and even mom will love the way they can pick one to their own taste. Start your own tradition. Cricket.
I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I thought this was a spoof. I really did. I cannot believe that this is genuinely deliberate, targeted advertising and marketing to give 5-year-olds rifles. What is your view?
Well, the marketing is directed at the parents, obviously, and the parents are making some, interesting decisions. I'd say bad decisions if they're giving a 5-year-old a gun. It is illegal, as far as I know, for a 5-year-old to walk into a gun shop and pick up a gun. The problem, I think, is broader than just this. I mean, if we're going to go to any kind of cultural implement that encourages kids to own guns, then we're going to have to go straight to Hollywood, and I'm not sure that people want to go there. I mean, most people who want to own guns do so because they watch Die Hard or because they watch, a movie with a gun.
Yeah, but they're actually, it's illegal for a kid of 5 to go and watch a lot of these violent movies.
That's true, although some of the PG movies even have guns in them. So it's...
But, back in Britain, I'm not going to harp on about where I come from. It's irrelevant to this, except that, the only thing like that you'd ever see would be toy guns. Kids have toy guns, and it's known to be a toy. It doesn't fire real bullets. This tragedy happened because these parents were traduced, I would imagine, by that very kind of advertising, and they believe it's perfectly normal to give their 5-year-old kid a rifle. And I just find it unconscionable.
Well, I certainly find it unconscionable on the part of the parents. I mean, as far as the advertiser goes, I'm not...
Should it be banned, that kind of advertising?
I think that there's an argument to be made in favor of that, but I do think that the broader argument is not about situations like this. I mean, these cases happen, and they are horrifying. But the real heart of the gun control issue has to come down to what happened in Chicago. I mean, I follow your Twitter feed, Piers, and I noticed that you tweeted a couple of times about this particular story. I didn't see any tweets about, for example, 20 people being shot yesterday in Chicago.
Well, I tweeted before about Chicago and discussed it on the show numerous times. Chicago is a particularly awful situation that's got to be dealt with.
We should focus on the central problem, then? I mean, this is...
We can. So what I find interesting about this with you is, and we've discussed gun control before in a very animated way, but, you agree with me, then, that you would bring in a form of gun control which would be prohibiting companies like Cricket from targeting young people with guns.
Well, I'm fairly certain liability law already covers a lot of this. I mean, there is such a thing as advertising liability. If you advertise, for example, you have an overground pool, and someone advertises advertises someone diving into the pool and then someone dives into the pool and breaks their neck, then you can be sued for that. If these advertisements show these guns as being a lot safer than they are, there's advertising liability already. I'm not sure you need a specific law directed at that.
On the ongoing debate about background checks and so on, last time I interviewed you, you said you were in favor of background checks.
I am.
Why is it that even background checks can't get passed by Congress? What is going on?
Well, they're not effective, unfortunately. I think the concept of background checks is generally a good one. I mean, we want to weed out people who are responsible from people who are irresponsible or criminal. Unfortunately, in California, we have universal background checks, and they have not been even close to effective. The idea that government has the ability to really do that sort of weeding out with a universal background check, I wish it were true. Unfortunately, the solution is not that easy. In concept, I do. I would like to see a plan that can be implemented that actually works.
There's a poll that's just come out. This is the Fairleigh Dickinson University poll. So that 29% of Americans agree with the statement. In the next few years, an armed revolution might be necessary in order to protect our liberties. Additional 5% were unsure about that. So a third of Americans genuinely believe they need to be armed to possibly rise up against some form of tyranny. Why?
Because that is the fundamental basis of American freedom. That has always been the fundamental basis.
Where would the tyranny come from?
The tyranny would come from the government. I mean,
Barack Obama's government?
No, not Barack Obama's government. I don't believe that Barack Obama is a tyrannical leader. But
So whose government?
Well, I couldn't name you a name, but it's not a matter of who is in charge. It's a question of what the government does.
But you personally believe, like a third of these people, that you will need in the next few years, it says, you will need to have weapons to take on your own government?
I don't believe in the next few years. I believe that there is always the possibility of government tyranny. I don't see that happening in the next couple of years. I do think, Piers, I have to say, I think the reason that there are so many folks who are talking about the possibility of government tyranny is threefold, really. It's the Obama administration's increasing reliance on big government, and that I think threatens some people. I think that it is folks like Alex Jones who do this routine where every time they shut down a city like Boston because of a terrorist attack, it's the end of the world and military laws at hand. And honestly, I think part of it is due to folks like you, Piers, because, you know, you go out of your way to really give the impression that you're interested in taking away people's fundamental right to bear arms, and I think that scares a lot of folks.
Well, no, I'm not. We've discussed this. I'm not remotely against people having the right to bear arms. I'm seriously against the right to have military-style assault weapons to blow kids' brains to pieces in schools.
I still don't understand your position on this, because you've said you're against assault weapons, but you are okay with handguns. Handguns kill 6,000 people a year. Assault weapons kill 300.
Well, they're both a big problem.
So
handguns
why don't we just go for
and assault weapons with mass shootings.
You're from the UK. Why don't we just go with a full gun ban?
Well, listen, we've discussed this. The UK has 40, 50 gun murders a year.
Right, so why don't
America has 12,000. Why don't we try our way? Let's move on to this.
I'm glad you finally let your agenda out there.
I don't have an agenda. I just want to make America safer and save lives. That's my agenda. Let's turn to Jason Collins. This is the sports star that came out. You tweeted this. So Jason Collins is a hero because he's gay. Our standard for heroism has dropped quite a bit since Normandy. Why such a cheap shot against a guy who did a pretty brave thing?
I don't think it's a cheap shot. I think that heroism is defined by willingness to sacrifice in favor of, and take a real personal risk in favor of a noble, larger goal. This may be a noble, larger goal, but I'm not sure what the risk is.
First male American athlete in history to come out as gay while still playing.
Martina Navratilova came out in 1981. That was 3 years before I was born.
I said male.
So let me ask you something, Piers. Why do you hate Americans so much that you think this is such a homophobic country that when Jason Collins comes out, it is the biggest steal in the history of humanity? President Obama has to personally call him to congratulate him.
Why do I hate America so much?
That you think that we are such a homophobic country.
I think you may be homophobic simply because you said, why is Jason Collins a hero? Because he's gay.
I don't understand why.
Why sneer at a guy for coming out when he's being courageous?
I'm not sneering at him for coming out.
Aren't you the one being homophobic?
I don't think it's homophobic to simply say we're apathetic about people's personal lives.
You're the one who thinks your government's going to invade and attack you, which is fairly anti-American sentiment.
I don't think that my government is going to do that. I think there's a possibility.
Brave because he came out. So when you call
I think that America is a fundamentally good place,
you look at your own backyard.
I think that America is a fundamentally good place. The fact is this, Piers. You're British, and a lot of folks have said you should leave the country because you're British. You come on here every night and you speak in a British accent. That doesn't make you a hero. That makes you being who you are.
I'm Jewish.
I understand. I'm Jewish. I wear a yarmulke on TV, right? There's a lot of anti-Semitism. There are people who are killed in anti-Semitic attacks, per capita, as many hate crimes against Jews as against gays in this country. America is not an anti-Semitic country, and I'm not a hero for wearing a yarmulke. Being who you are in 2013 in America is what America is about. It is not heroic to be who you are publicly. I'm glad for Jason Collins if he feels that he's going to live a happier life now. But it does not make you a hero to be who you are. Because America is not a homophobic country.
You know what, Ben? Come off it.
Come off it.
Got to leave it there, but come off it.
Oh, is that
Give
an
the guy a
argument?
break. He's the first one to come out. He's a brave guy. I applaud him.
I'm glad the president calls him.
To have your first thought to be to get on Twitter and sneer at him?
No,
I'm cheap.
I think what's cheap is ripping on America and calling it essentially a homophobic country. So homophobic that we need
calling America homophobic.
Piers,
You're the only one that's mentioned it.
Piers, you cover stories in which man bites dog, not in which dog bites man.
Mentioned America's homophobic.
No, you know it's homophobic.
Got to leave it there. But seriously, nobody mentioned America being homophobic. You're going mad.
Then why the big deal?
Ben Shapiro, come back soon. On the grill there, and well roasted he was too. When we come back, with a drunken arrest, a potentially racist ad, and Warren Buffett's first ever tweet. We'll be breaking the news. That's coming next.